Evening and welcome to News 10 on My Fox 10. A scary morning for residents of an Indiana State apartment complex. Fire ripped through an apartment on the top floor while some were still asleep. As News 10's Matt Gregory tells us, several students have a group of police officers to thank for getting them out safely.
Normally, when we see Indiana State Police Officer Sergeant Joe Watts, he's at the scene of an accident or a crime to tell us and you what's happening behind the crime tape. But Tuesday morning found him in a different role.
Well, I was on duty traveling southbound on 3rd Street in the area of the married student housing when a gentleman on the sidewalk flagged me over. I stopped to see what he needed, and he pointed out that, hey, there's smoke coming from the building there.
Watts radioed dispatch to send for fire and rescue teams. And then he and a few Terre Haute police officers sprung into action, running to the 3rd floor.
The smoke was so thick, the visibility was very low, that we ultimately had to come out after knocking on all the doors on the 3rd floor. We just couldn't handle the smoke anymore.
But they didn't stop there. As emergency crews got to the scene, Watts and the other officers continued to the 4th floor where the fire had started.
And I opened the door and it was an officer, grabbed my hand, said, "Let's go." I screamed, "Can I get my animal?" He said, "Go." And I looked out the corner of my eye and there was fire in the wing, and I was like, uh-oh.
As the smoke billowed through the 4th floor, Watts and the officers turned to leave. And by then, the cavalry had already arrived.
When we were inside the building and we saw those firefighters coming up the stairs and taking over for us, it was great. It was a great job to watch them work, and I just can't say enough about what it's like to be on the receiving end of when the firefighters come to help you.
And thanks to the efforts of the police and fire, these students are safe and sound tonight, even if it's not in their home. In Terre Haute with photojournalist Gary Bryan, Matt Gregory, News 10.
News 10 asked Sergeant Watts how he and the other officers felt running into the building. He said they didn't think twice. It's just how first responders are wired.